Of how good this Cyclops is. Every fight. Alright, since watching X-Men 97 Season 2, I was reminded of how good this Cyclops is. Every fight scene, bros.
I want y'all to know this too on my channel. Like, I'm gonna make sure to post everything that's me. Comics, music, gaming, funny shit, anything is getting posted on here. So let's stay with me. Y'all gonna fuck with what I'm doing over here, man. I promise you.
And is usually the best of the episode, or at least dope as fucking memorable. But I was also reminded of the live-action Cyclops and how absolutely trashy he was.
Yeah, that shit
had
was
nothing
dog
to do with the actor. Had everything to do with the writers not knowing what to do with him.
That shit was so
hating on him, bro. Half of his scenes were just him being made fun of, or Logan swiping his girl. So today,
bro.
I want to go over Cyclops from the X-Men films and compare him to actual good adaptations. We first see Cyclops in the first Fox X-Men film after Logan gets knocked the fuck out by Sabretooth, and Cyclops and Storm come to help. He tries to blast Sabretooth, and then he frees Rogue from her buckle, then pulls Logan off the truck before it blows up. Decent intro for a live-action film. Unfortunately, this will be one of the only fights where Cyclops doesn't get pieced up. Also unfortunately, it doesn't get you juiced up quite like it does in his introduction to X-Men 97 when he busts into the building and starts rescuing Sunspot while beaming people and using his optic blast to move himself around. Shit was epic. And it also does a good job to lead him into being the main character, the leader of the X-Men since Charles was gone. Whereas in the Fox X-Men films, it's very clear Wolverine is the main focus, and it stays that way for pretty much every X-Men film there is. It's pretty much just Wolverine and everybody else. After this first scene, it also starts a great rivalry between Scott and Wolverine.
You're a dick. Okay.
I actually like it, but I don't like the reason behind it. I have never and will never like Logan constantly going after Jean. It's fucking weird, bro. And then Jean low-key playing into it. She's not it. Gotta know the red flags in a woman early on and get out of there, bro, or you're gonna end up like Scott. It also happened in the original animated series and in X-Men 97 and in the comics. Don't care.
Still don't care.
It's trash. Anyways, the next time we see Scott is when he and Storm are at the train station looking for Rogue. And he does a whole lot of nothing. Before he can even get into a fight, Toad rips his visor off and he blows a hole through the building. And that's it. That's literally all he does in this entire scene. Making that hole in the ceiling does help Storm zap Sabretooth, but blasting the roof was not intentional. It's alright though. Later on, they go to rescue Rogue again, and this time Scott dodges Toad and might be able to beat his ass. Are you serious? He dodged Toad and proceeded to get double booted and flung into the wall. May I remind
Bro, nigga kicked me with both feet. Nigga, I deserve to get kicked at that point. Nigga kick you with both feet, nigga. You deserve to get kicked.
Mind you again how hard he popped off in his intro of X-Men 97. And then, in that very same episode, he jumps out of a plane, uses his blast to slow his fall, lands in epic fashion.
Yeah, shit
happy if you stayed where you are in life and job forever? If the answer is yes, then this video is not.
Episode, he jumps out of a plane, uses his blast to slow his fall, lands in epic fashion, and has the most Chad line of all time.
To me, my X-Men.
And in live action, we got this. Toad goes on to work the entire fucking team, bro. This fucking guy right here. Unbelievable. The guy with the long tongue is working our whole team, bro. You gotta pack it up and go home. Storm is the only one who's worth a fuck in this film in terms of actually winning fights. She's 3 for 3 right now after locking in and smacking Toad with some lightning. They work their way up to the Statue of Liberty, and boom, they all get trapped by Magneto, and Scott gets his visor taken. He does eventually blast Sabretooth into next week, but that was with the help of Logan and Jean, and all he had to do was open his eyes. At the end, he does clutch up and blast Magneto, which helps Logan stop the mutant machine thing and save the day, so I'll give him that. But overall, first movie, L. He mainly just sat in the back, got beat up, and watched Logan flirt with his girl. So yeah, the next time we see Scott is in X2 when he's with Professor X visiting Magneto. Lady Deathstrike comes in and nails him with a dart. He's able to blast her and blast the sorry sap in the corner. Then for the first time, we get to see a little hand-to-hand combat for once against a couple guards, and he handles them pretty easily. Then he proceeds to get Deathstrike's coochie to the face and then knocked out. This all happened about 30 minutes into the movie, and we do not see Cyclops again until an hour and a half into the movie. I'm not kidding. And when we do see him, he's being controlled by Stryker to fight Jean, and even then, my boy misses his shot and gets ragdolled by Jean. Then he sneaks up on her and tries to blast her, but she blocks it and uses the Phoenix Force to blow him back, which results in cracking the structure of the entire underground base, which also eventually leads to them nearly dying. I also want to mention, once Scott's back to normal, she's talking about some Scott, I love you, even though this was her the night before.
You're a fucking You're a
So now after having Scott out of most of this movie and losing all of his fights, we also have to watch him not know.
It's fucked up, but that's how real life be, though. There's many niggas out here, folks. You hitting a bitch that night, you not even knowing. She about to go to her nigga that next day. You don't even know that.
That Jean was cheating. The writers did my dog so dirty, bro. They did not fuck with Cyclops.
Who the
They
fuck
didn't
is
even try
this
to
guy?
hide it. But it gets worse. So much worse. The last time we see this version of Scott, he's down in the dumps over Jean after she died in X2, and he has to hear Logan talking about some,
Man,
"Dude,
fuck
maybe
her."
we should move on."
Maybe it's time for us to move on.
Who the fuck is we?
What?
Whoa, you're bugging.
That is crazy to say. Eventually, Scott makes his way down to the
Look at
lake
that
where he
nigga
hears
squinting
her
his
voice.
face.
He starts blasting the water in anger, pretty cool scene, and then gets flung back and finds Jean alive. This is great news. Maybe he'll make a comeback. She kills him.
Damn,
And
I remember
that's
that.
all we see of Cyclops in this entire film. As a matter of fact, that's the last thing we see of this Cyclops, excluding his younger
Glasses,
versions, until the very end of
cricket and
Days of Future
shit.
Past, where he gets like 3 seconds of screen time. Yeah. His younger version does get a lot more screen time in fight scenes, but he's still young and learning his powers and not leading the team, and had 0 hand-to-hand fight scenes. He would just shoot his optic blasts. In X-Men Apocalypse, he pretty much did no more than just lay and spray at shit. There were some decent scenes from him in X-Men Dark Phoenix, like him bouncing the blast off a car door and beaming people through a train while moving Charles, which was pretty legit. But other than that, he didn't do much yet again. I take that back. He was in X-Men Origins, and he laid out a bunch of guards with his beam. And before that, he was chased and taken down by Sabretooth. But if you tap into just a little bit of X-Men 97, you'll see him scrapping with straight hands, blasting dudes, one-tapping Sentinels, charging up Bishop in a pretty cool scene, using his blast to slow him down to land, and leading the team and being a main character. I feel like every fight scene he was in was one of the coolest in the episode, if not the best. Now, it's not perfect. Like, how the fuck did this regular dude block his blast and not get sent back 50 feet by using a metal stick to block it? Doesn't make any sense. Also, Scott could have just aimed for his legs. But other than that, you know, a few minor inconsistencies like that, he's pretty much perfect. Especially as a character outside of just fight scenes. Scott in the movies was just a comic relief side character that the writers never really gave any depth. But Scott in pretty much any animated adaptation was a character that the audience could actually give a shit about. In X-Men 97 Season 1, he was struggling with finding out his son's mom was a clone, so he had to deal with that situation, and then he had to deal with leaving her after, you know, she mellowed out, and decided to stay with the original Jean even though the clone is the one he's been with for a while. And on top of that, his son gets taken and infected and he has to send him to the future, and then Madeline Pryor, the Jean clone, ends up dying. Dude's life is rough. There's just so much more character focus on him that even without his fight scenes, he's a character you can actually like. You know what I mean? But going back to the fight scenes in the Fox films, I don't want to hear any excuses like it's live action so the fight scenes are harder to do compared to animation. Brother, they showed Storm mad love, giving her hella screen time, cool fight scenes, and winning fights. They gave Colossus, who is a straight up side character, better fight scenes as well, and he was barely in the movies. And Iceman and Sunspot in Days of Future Past had better fight scenes than Scott's ever had, and they had like a cool 6 minutes of screen time. The MCU had Gambit for like 10 minutes max, and he was written better and had a better fight scene than all of Scott's combined. Granted, they were working on a bigger budget, but still, they could have done more for Bro, who's one of the most popular and well-known X-Men, but I also could just be dick riding, so I don't know. Maybe the MCU can take him, clutch up, and give him the nastiest comeback of all time, but the only clip so far is him looking defeated and shooting his blast into the sky with Sentinel right on his ass. Looks sick, but everyone, myself included, also thought Homelander was about to be on another level when he shot his lasers into the sky after taking V1. Literally nothing happened. If anything, Bro got downgraded. Dude was buns the next 2 episodes, but maybe that won't happen and they'll actually show him some love. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this.
Man, he ain't bapping, bro, man. Love y'all, man. See y'all in a couple seconds, not a couple minutes, man.